what's up, Seekers? Wanugee with GoldenDragonFortunes, your K-Rap Psychic. And hey, I'm going to be doing, by request, we're going to be doing somebody I've never done before, the group I've never done before yet. And they're very popular. They just finished a tour to the U.S., so they grew in their popularity in the West, and they're pretty popular in Asia and in Korea. They were formed out of a one of these elimination competitions, which has become very popular the last 5 years, 6 years, you know, as a way to form groups. Because let's face it, you know, if you're a producer, if you're an agency, this is one way if you can get the TV time to get exposure for your group, your contestants, your idols, before they become an idol, before they become a group, before they debut. So this is one way to ensure that maybe, you know, they're going to be successful, and that you kind of get participation with the audience, and you start to get familiar with them. So a lot of groups in the last 5 years have been in K-pop have been formed through elimination shows. You know, Twice was formed when JYP did their 16 thing, and Icon and Winner were kind of formed out of their kind of little things that elimination shows that they were participating in. You know, sometimes it's not all the same people. They've added some idols from here and there, some trainees, and kind of formed the group. But a lot of the exposure has already been happening. So we're going to do one that well, first was formed actually in 2015 out of an elimination show in Korea called No Mercy, and it was a collaboration with Mnet and Starship Entertainment, Starship the agency, and that group is Monsta X. Monsta X, yes. And today, by request, I want to put a little shout out because the request came from one of you, from your comments, and that's Anel Biela. Merci beaucoup. So all you Mon Babies, you know, because Monsta X, you know, your fandom is called Mon Babies, which is en français is my baby. Je parle un peu français parce que j'ai étudié français à l'école et je travaillais in entreprise à la Montreal. So I speak a little French, yeah, not much. But anyway, I studied a little bit in school, and I also worked for a company that was based out of Quebec or Montreal, which is the French part of Canada. So, but anyway, Mon Bébés, Monsta X, that's your fandom. So welcome in. And who are we going to do on Monsta X? We're going to do Lee JooHoney, the rapper, the songwriter. Lee JooHoney was originally, I guess as of this year, he's now called JooHoney. So all you JooHoney fans, I don't know what do you call it, honeybees? But anyway, JooHoneys. He was actually, you know, before he became part of Monsta X, he was in this kind of 4-member group called New Boys, still Starship Entertainment, and then they did this elimination show in 2015, and then they kind of from that formed Monsta X. So let's do Lee JooHoney. And we're going to do a little reading for him. We're going to use my mahjong tiles. These are my medium-sized mahjong tiles, kind of champagne gold. And we're going to do a little quick outline for the next 12 months, kind of see what's coming up for the year in general, and then maybe take a look at, you know, a little more, maybe specifically about his career, and then maybe his love life. See what's going on there. So, Mon Babies, are you ready? Let's go. So, JooHoney, Mon Babies, get ready. So there's going to be some difficulties that he's going to be working through here. Some challenges. There's some cold wind blowing from the north that's kind of coming through. The North Tower represents this kind of cold wind kind of blowing through, so it's a little bit of opposition that he has to work through. Not that he can't. And it seems to be having to do with a commitment of some sort. You know, this is the knot, represents commitment. And so there may be a commitment that may be difficult, or something that he wants to do that's challenging and maybe not that easy to accomplish. But there's something about commitment and challenge that are combining over the next couple, 3 months, 2 or 3 months or so. And it seems to say that as you kind of go out about 3 to 6 months, so this is getting closer to the end of the year, these two tiles show up. And the east tile represents him, you know, the person we're talking about. So it says that it's kind of a reminder to him that he has a lot to offer. He has to believe it more and kind of be confident in himself, but it's kind of up to him to make things happen. And it seems to say there's going to be some written things or written communications or documents or contracts of some sort that's emphasized around this time as well. So I don't know if he's going to be writing new songs or new raps or he's dealing with some kind of contractual issues, but it seems like it's going to be emphasized energetically. Probably right around the end of the year, beginning of the new year, probably November through January or somewhere in that time frame, roughly. And if you go out a little farther, it seems like there's going to be a lot of thinking about things, a little more deeper thought, a little more meditative, contemplative thought, maybe mutually between him, maybe some other party, or maybe it's his agency, or maybe some other collab. It's hard to say exactly, but these two tiles are the same, and they show up at the same time. The 4 bamboo is called the carp, represents like you're sitting next to the koi pond and kind of reflecting and meditating and contemplating life, kind of thinking a little bit deeper, soul searching kind of sort of. But there's 2 of them at the same time, so usually when that comes up, it means that maybe he's either thinking about 2 aspects of his life, both professional and maybe personal, something like that he's doing a lot of soul searching about this, figuring out how to deal with that, or that it's a mutual thing, that there's a lot of depth or thought going on between him and maybe another party or another person, where there's a lot of this deep consideration of all the implications that might be happening. This is in the springtime, probably, I don't know, March, April, May, somewhere in that time frame, maybe February through April, something like that. And then as you look at the last 2 tiles here, seem to say that after all this contemplation and this kind of soul searching, the unicorn shows up, the 9 of circles, and this represents 2 words really, honesty and clarity. And it says the more honest he is with himself, the more clarity he has about what to do and how to move forward, and what kind of decisions and choices to make. And this peacock shows up, and this represents him as well. And it says that he's, at that time, about a year from now, he's going to see himself differently. He's going to see himself maybe more maturely, maybe ready to kind of move into the next phase of his life. He was born in October 1994, so it's not like he's old or anything, but he's going through a lot of changes in, being in 25 or so at that time, or 20, when he turned 25, after 25. So he's thinking about the future, but he's feeling like he's maturing and kind of ready for the next phase, the second 25 years of his life, or the next 5 years for his life as a K-pop, perhaps, K-pop idol. So that's what it says overall. And so then the next question, the second line here up, is we're going to ask about, just kind of a little focus on his career, particularly, and over the next year. So let's look at those. And it says that there's some success. He's going to feel kind of a feeling of success, and that positive things have happened over the last 3 months. The south tile shows up, represents kind of the favored direction of the 4 in the system, and so it represents maybe some positive things have happened, and he feels maybe kind of the glow of that, and he's moving forward and kind of build on that. They just did their tour, so I'm sure it went very well. They're on TV, even in the U.S. and so. So that was good for their career, and it seems like that's going to make him feel a little bit more relaxed and comfortable, and with that, maybe more creative. So maybe that's part of it. Then it says there's going to be something new comes up, maybe about 3 to 6 months. So right around the end of the year, beginning of the new year, the Fa shows up, like Gong Hei Fa Choi, says something new is starting. Something new is about to start or commence, roughly in the beginning of the new year. And the pine shows up. The pine represents strength, his strength to kind of stand tall like a pine tree and make things happen. Can also represent maybe, just young male energy. So, obviously his whole group is young male energy. So there may be something new. I don't know if that's a comeback or a new song or something going on or something he's doing personally, but it's all happening roughly in the early new year, 2020. And as you go out a little bit farther, it says that there may be something here that he finds very interesting and attractive, dynamic and inspiring, but risky. The fire tile shows up. Fire represents all those things. It's dynamic. It attracts us since the caveman days. Cooks food. It gives us light. All those things. But it also can burn us and burn our resources. So it's a kind of a dual-edged sword. There's like a risk-reward analysis going on here. There's good things and there's bad things. So he's kind of weighing the risk factor. And it seems to say that that may have to do with this 6 of circles called the peach. And the peach represents a lot of things, but generally it represents young female energy. So this could be, could be representative of that energy, which might be creativity. So he might have a desire to do something more creative, but or something that has a nicer aesthetic value to it, kind of a female kind of energy to it, or it could actually represent somebody who has this kind of energy, somebody who is has this kind of young female vibe to them. So maybe there's something going on here. I don't know. This is going to be the springtime when when the flowers bloom and the birds sing. So we'll see what's happening there. That might have some effect on his career, because it's a career question. So I don't know if he's going to do a collab or wants to do a collab, maybe a duet. We'll have to see. And then it says that it seems like he's very hopeful about that as he get into about a year from now, maybe 9 to 12 months from now. He feels very hopeful about it. And it seems like he's going to reach his goal or objective. He's going to be very focused on it, and he's probably going to accomplish that goal or objective at some point, probably about a year from now. So that's his career. So let's look at his love life, because this kind of raises the intrigue here with this last one. So let's see what they say. It says that there's going to be something he realizes. He sees something that has something pearl-like. The pearl represents something that's beautiful, refined, precious, just like a pearl. And so it symbolizes something nice, something better, something special. And it seems like that energy is starting to develop in the next 3 months. But it's kind of a long-term play. The 4 circles is called the jade. So jade, in nature is just a rock. But with perseverance and effort, that jade can turn into beautiful jade jewelry. So the metaphor here is that maybe he's finding something or looking for something that has this kind of nicer pearl quality, and maybe potentially could be a jade, which could add value over time and be more precious to him. But he knows it's going to take time and effort to realize, so he's kind of taking the long-term view. And so that's what it seems to be saying. So maybe he's, moving in that direction. And it says that there's going to be, there's going to be some things happening, and we get to pick 2 more tiles. So let's just think about JooHoney, and when we feel a shift in energy, we're just going to pick some tiles. So JooHoney, let's see what the tiles say. Let's pick. All right. So here's the tiles. So both of these are flowers, and flowers are, there's only 8 of these in the whole mahjong. They're all unique. And so this one here, this is called the one of flowers, one of red flowers, and this represents the fisherman. And it's a metaphor. The fisherman represents getting up early to go out to sea every day. That takes discipline. And then waiting for the fish. That takes patience. And this tile represents the first quarter, maybe the first 3 months of next year. So it seems to say that there's something there that he's, and then the tile that goes with it is the 7 of circles, called the insect. So I think Monsta X is 7 people. So maybe there's something there. Maybe it's a comeback or something that he has to kind of have some discipline and patience in the first quarter of next year before it actually happens. But it's going to be things that perhaps are with a group and take a lot of group energy and teamwork and dynamic energy, but it's very busy. So he has to have a lot of discipline and patience during that period. So maybe he can't do a lot of things that have to do with his love life. But the next tile here is called the 2 of flowers. This is red flowers, and this is called the woodcutter. And the woodcutter represents kind of a metaphor as well about going out in the woods and trying to find the best firewood to fuel your fire, to fuel your passion, to fuel what you love and want, and your fuel. And so it's kind of a metaphor for figuring out his priorities, rearranging his priorities, figuring out what how everything fits in his life as he kind of got turned into the next year of his life. 25, I think he's going to be 25, maybe 26 Korean terms. So he may be thinking about that and how to make that successful, how to make those priorities successful and put them all in order, because the south tile represents this kind of favored direction or some positive things may be happening. So, and then as you go out a little bit farther, it says that there's going to be something new that's coming up. This is in the spring, maybe second quarter, something. Kind of what it said, kind of hinted over here in the first 2 questions. But the lotus shows up. The lotus represents enlightenment, awakening, kind of expansion and growth. So kind of, it's a very positive tile. Represents openness and willingness to explore and try. And there may be a decision or choice that may be part about that. Maybe he's making a decision or choice to be more open and be more I don't know, look around a little bit more, or maybe he's making a decision to pursue something that makes him feel that way already, and wants to kind of explore that and see how it opens up for him emotionally in his love life. And it says that that's going to turn into something here that might be the pearl. The pearl represents this, again, this one that was here. Something better or nicer, he realizes, that might be possible, and he's maybe considering what to do about that. And there may be something to have to do with location or travel or land and property that may be part of that, because this is the earth tile, represents those things. Location, change location, land and property, those kinds of things. Something's changing by next year, this time, in the summer. So I don't know, maybe he's kind of thinking about creating a place where he can have, at least for the future, a nicer place for a relationship as he kind of, goes through his K-pop career and then has to go to the military and etc. So he might be thinking about that, but he might be, maybe there's some motivator there too, an actual person that motivates him, because there's some hints around that as well. So we'll have to see how it plays out. So all you Mon babies, why don't you just like and subscribe and see what happens, and maybe we'll have some updates. If you have any suggestions, if you want to know about other members of Monsta X or other idols that you find popular and you want to follow, make some suggestions, because this was based out of a suggestion. But anyway, that's it for JooHoney. I had another question for you guys, if you are still here. It's like, do you prefer rappers or do you prefer singers? As in a boy band, do you like the rapper type because maybe they seem a little more edgy and they kind of have a way to, do their thing, in a certain style? Or do you like the crooners, the singers, the ones that have a great voice and can have a range and can sing? Or do you like both? I mean, which one do you prefer? Make your suggestions or make your comments, and maybe who you like most in Monsta X, and maybe we'll do another member. So anyway, that's all for now, and until next time, wishing you all good fortunes. Using Mahjong tiles, energy profiles flowing out from today. Help us see the way for your idols or stands. You loyal K-pop fans want to know what will happen, so let's start our mapping. Got to know what will show? Subscribe, hit like, go with me, jump ahead in time, big hit me.